Hello and welcome back to Learn Digital Art with me, Nilofer. Today we will be approaching this illustration whereby we will be creating the background wildflowers to this drawing. We will be using brushes from 5 different folders too. So I'm going to begin the background illustration by positioning our little girl into the middle of the page. If you'd like to know how to create her, then you can go back to some previous videos of mine where I will show you how to create her features and the blushing on her face and also the different hair textures. Right, let's begin. I'm going to take a very dark red rouge colour and use the studio pen to create an oval shape and fill that in. I'll now be using a brush from the painting folder named Turpentine. That's going to create the bristles. And if you're wondering which wildflower I'm creating, it's called the bristle thistle and it originates as a wildflower in Colorado. I'll be creating the thistles in different colours, so there'll be a little bit of a cream colour too, and when that's placed on the red rouge it turns pinky. By using a lighter colour and reverting back to our studio pen, I'm going to create the petals. I want to change the shape of my petals, so what I want to do is go into the transform button, which is the cursor button with a little arrow on it on the left hand side of our toolbar. Once I've highlighted our petals, I'm going to go into the button next to it, which is called the selections button, which looks like an S. I'm then going to click onto the wrap button and move the petals around. Once I'm happy with that design, what I wish to do, I want to be painting the petals in 3 different colours. I'm going to start off with pink. And I'm going to be using the oil paint brush from Painting One folder. I could have used any other pen like the studio pen, a dry ink or even a gel pen to create the petals, but because it's a wildflower I wanted to use a brush that gave me more of an edge and was more rougher in texture. That's why I decided to opt for the oil paint brush. I'll now use a black colour to create some shading in between the petals. And you'll remember from previous videos that sometimes in order to enhance the shape of the images I tend to use the eraser pen, and that's on the right hand side of the toolbar in the middle, and what I tend to use is a studio pen just to replicate whatever shape I want to create. In this instance I'm trying to divide the petals up. Once that's done, I'm using the transform button on the left hand side of the toolbar and then picking uniform, which gives us a square edge around our flower or image, and we can move the image around. I'm going to go and pick the studio button and create the stem. of our flower. Using the same brush, I'm now going to create some leaves. I'm creating some patterns on the side freehand. Now, one very easy way to create this style of pattern is to begin from the middle of the line and go round very, very slowly to give yourself a little bit of a curve at the top, and then bring that pen back in. I'm now going to use the soft brush from the Airbrush 1 folder and soften this solid green colour with a mustard colour. I'll then want to reposition it, so I'll be using the transform button again and clicking on uniform and moving these leaves to wherever I want them, which in this case will be on the right hand side, creating a layer which is below the first flower, just to position it. And then what I wish to do is duplicate our wildflower or a bristle thistle and move it towards the left hand corner. So I'm just copying and pasting it and transferring it to the other side by clicking on the horizontal button. Let me now create some more flowers, so I'm going to go for another style, this time 3 large petals with our studio pen. I'm just going to fill them with this crimson red colour. I'm now going to create a pattern inside our 3 petals, and this will be done by reducing the opacity on the bottom left hand corner of our canvas, and I'm then going to use that exact same studio pen to replicate some petals at the back. What I'll now be doing is creating some twigs in the background, and I'll also be copy and pasting one of the red flowers to go on the side, so just rearranging some of the flowers now. When I create backgrounds which have flowers in them, I always like to balance the bright, sharp colours with smaller shapes, preferably in blues or even green colours. So here you will see a variety of little shapes I've created, which I may colour in, I may not. But what I feel like there should always be a balance when you're creating an illustration with lots of bright colours. You need to have some plain colours like white or some dark colours in there, just so we can balance everything out. I thought I would give the background a nice olivey green colour. I didn't want to go over with the amount of flowers I'd created, and so at the back I decided to use the Bokeh colour brush, which is from the Luminance folder, and what this will do is create an image of flowers or something bright but in the background. As I don't have too much blue in this illustration, I want to include that in here. So I'm going to be creating some leaves in the similar shape to the leaves I created earlier in the illustration, but with using this light blue colour. I also want to create a mustard coloured flower, and I'm roughly creating the outline to it, and then I'm going to be using a few different techniques to create the shape of it. I'm just going to create the middle part with an aquamarine blue. I want to soften the edges and make them more round, so what I'm going to do is go into the eraser pen and just erase the sides so we've got a nice round shape. I'm then going to reduce the opacity and create some black lines in between the flower. I'm now going to use our transform button and a uniform button at the bottom and move the flowers on the side. I'm then going to revert back to our Bokeh colour pen and go for a darker colour and just start using it at the back. The colours I've used for reference are a pink, a purple and a blue. Sometimes when I look at my illustration, I feel like colours need to be popping more, so I tend to copy and paste a particular pattern that I like that's already existing in my illustration and then change the colour to it. You see that I've done that now and added a bit of mustard, and I'm also copying and pasting 2 more flowers and moving them around by first positioning them and then putting them in a layer which is below so they don't protrude out that much. Just one more touch, just using a soft blend brush, and I just want to highlight around her head. There you have it, a little girl in a wildflower field. Thank you so much for joining me and see you soon. Bye bye.